In the fourth consolidation workings video, I want us to expand on the previous scenario by performing a consolidation that features the follow-on consequences of fair value adjustments at a date subsequent to the date of acquisition. And example 4 reads, P acquired the entire share capital of S for €10,000 on the 1st of January 2017, when the statement of the financial position of S was as follows. As you can hopefully see, the numbers presented correspond exactly to those which you saw being used in the previous example. Additionally, we are told that at the date of acquisition, S's other assets included an item of property, plant and equipment whose fair value exceeded its book value by €600. This item of PPE had a remaining useful life of 4 years, as at the acquisition date. Reading on. On the 31st of December 2017, the statements of financial position of the two companies are as follows. And our job is to prepare a consolidated statement of financial position as at the 31st of December, which therefore becomes the date of consolidation. As always, the first working concerns group structure, and we will once again write that P owns 100% of S. The second working is subsidiary net assets, and as before we need the standard 3 columns: acquisition date, consolidation date, and post-acquisition. This time around we will actually need 4 rows instead of the previous 3. The first for share capital, the second for retained earnings, the third for fair value adjustments relating to S's assets, and the fourth for fair value depreciation adjustments. So, in the first column we will have 5,000 in respect of share capital, 3,000 for retained earnings, an additional €600 to bring S's net assets total to their acquisition date fair value, and nothing in respect of fair value depreciation adjustments. Moving on to the consolidation date column, we may input the relevant equity balances of S as at the 31st of December, that is 5,000 and 5,500 for share capital and retained earnings respectively. The fair value adjustment input stays at the same level as at the date of acquisition, as we are actually only ever concerned with fair value as at that date, meaning that we will never record any post-acquisition movement in respect of this line. When it comes to the final row of the working, fair value depreciation adjustments, at the consolidation date, we will show any additional depreciation which will have been recorded in the group financial statements as a result of incorporating and initially recognizing the subsidiaries' net assets at their fair values as opposed to book values, and subsequently charging depreciation on the basis of these amounts. The subsidiaries' other assets were initially measured at an amount that was €600 higher than their book value. Given that at the date of acquisition the remaining useful life of the item of PPE in question was estimated as 4 years, then the additional depreciation charged on a straight line basis over the 1-year period since the date of acquisition to the date of consolidation is calculated as 600 divided by 4 times 1, that is €150. The post-acquisition column will show nothing in respect of share capital or the initial fair value adjustments, but we will use it to identify the post-acquisition movement in the subsidiary's retained earnings. That is the difference between the €5,500 as at the date of consolidation and the €3,000 at the point of acquisition, giving a difference of €2,500. Additionally, we will show the additional depreciation charge of minus 150, which needs to be recognized for the year past since the date of acquisition. The post-acquisition column therefore shows a net movement of 2,350. The third working, Goodwill, begins with the €10,000 investment by the parent entity, from which we deduct the €8,600 fair value of the subsidiary's net assets as at the date of acquisition, which we take from the acquisition date column of working 2, and this yields goodwill of €1,400. Working number 4 is once again called non-controlling interest, but there is still no need to make use of it, which brings us to working 5, group retained earnings. We begin with the entire retained earnings of the parent as at the date of consolidation, giving 17,000, to which we add the parent's share of the movement in the net assets of S since the acquisition, as adjusted for the additional depreciation. This is equal to 100% of the outcome of the post-acquisition column from working 2, that is €2,350. The group retained earnings total therefore comes in at €19,350. Let us now put all of the pieces together in the consolidated statement of financial position as at the 31st of December 2017. We begin with goodwill, which was computed as €1,400 in working 3. Next, we have other assets, which equal the sum of the two values coming from the books of P and S, but also include that €600 of acquisition date fair value adjustment, less the €150 of additional depreciation, which brings the total to €32,450, resulting in overall assets of €33,850. Moving on to the equity section, the share capital of the group is always the same as the share capital of the parent, so €6,000. The group retained earnings total derived in working 5 was €19,350, giving an overall consolidated equity balance of €25,350. Group liabilities are simply the sum of the relevant P and S numbers, producing €8,500, which brings the balance of consolidated equity and liabilities to €33,850.